and the topic today is viruses. So
Great. So you know the questions, or you can go ask the questions and then answer them one by one in the order
I
you
don't
like.
know if I remember the questions, but I'll start with what I have on here.
Okay.
What is a virus? A virus is a submicroscopic infectious agent that replicates only inside the living cells of an organism. What is the difference between a virus and a bacteria? Bacteria are tiny microorganisms that are made up of a single cell. They are very diverse and have a large variety of shapes and structural features. Bacteria can live on almost any conceivable environment, including in or on the human body. Viruses are parasitic. That means they require living cells or tissue in which to grow. Viruses can invade the cells of your body using the components of your cells to grow and multiply. Some viruses can even kill the host as part of their life cycle. Only a handful of bacteria cause infections in humans. These bacteria are referred to as pathogenic bacteria.
Can bacteria kill people?
Yes.
So what's the difference between them again?
So viruses only replicate inside the living cells of an organism. Virus or bacteria can kind of not go in the living cells of an organism to replicate.
So the bacteria can't replicate inside a living organism, or
No, they don't have to.
okay, there's a difference, yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference. Is
Yeah.
that they don't have to.
No, I thought you meant that bacteria didn't.
They do.
Replicate.
Some do. Some do.
Yeah, but they don't need a living.
They don't
organism.
need to. They don't need to.
Gotcha.
I don't have any more. Oh, is the seasonal flu a virus? Yes, it is.
Why don't we have a vaccine for the viruses like we do for other diseases? Like measles, mumps.
I think measles is a virus.
Okay, so why don't we have vaccines for all viruses then?
Well, it's probably because of evolution.
Explain.
Like, it's not like when you replicate, you don't what do you call it? Your offspring is not going to be an exact replica of yourself. There's going to be like some mutations to it, and over time, these mutations will continue to evolve and becoming, and then they become immune to some vaccinations that we have created, but that were good for the original version of the virus, but because they evolved to have an immunity to, they can still infect people with the vaccination. I put it in quotes because it's not really a vaccination anymore if that happens. Then they have to change the vaccination, and because our technology is kind of, well, it's good, but it's still pretty limited. So we can't just like predict what's gonna happen next, like the mutation that's coming next. So we can't just pre-make some vaccinations and not know what virus it's gonna
So
keep out.
does that mean that there will never be a vaccine for the flu virus?
Not perfectly, because it's gonna keep evolving and evolving. That is unless it evolves in a way that it just can't go into humans anymore, and it just kind of either has to go off other animals, like let's say cows, or it just kind of gets eradicated.
And how does it infect a human?
Usually by Wait, what do you mean by that? From human to human, or?
Yeah.
Human to human, it's usually by the droplets, so, of someone, so, like, when I'm like, that's probably why they invented social distancing, because when you're talking, there's going to be some sort of droplets that come out, because nobody's perfect, and that's how it spreads to another person. Or if they get their droplets somehow onto like a surface. Most viruses can live on surfaces for about a day. So if that surface gets touched a lot, and then they either rub their eye or touch their nose or touch their mouth before they wash their hands, then it's gonna get into their body.
And then what happens when the virus enters your body? How does it get you sick?
That is different for every virus.
Okay, so this little virus that you touched goes in your body, and then what does it do?
Well, some block up your your trachea, like they clog it up, so, like to prevent you, like it's harder for you to breathe.
What?
Or they
Sorry.
like release some sort of chemical into your body that can cause inflammation or something along those lines.
Okay, but what's one common trait that viruses do when they're in your body?
Not good things.
Okay, but there's one bigger common trait that they do. They have to do it.
They have to reproduce.
That's right.
Because they can't live on if they don't reproduce.
It's more replicate than reproduce. I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
It's replicate. They're not like a mammal.
Yeah, they don't have genders, do they?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so
not like
it's replication.
Okay.
And it goes back down to what I was asking, what RNA is.
No, I don't know.
What's the difference between an outbreak, pandemic, and epidemic?
So an outbreak is a sudden increase in cases, like the number of cases, which usually occurs in like a small community or like a small geographic area. An epidemic is similar to that, just a little bit, it's just kind of a little bigger in size. And then a pandemic is a global outbreak, which means that it's just an outbreak, but on the global scale. So it pretty much infects everywhere.
Okay. Now your assignment. Can you show us your assignment?
My virus is called Pornix. Don't really ask me why I named it that. So Pornix. I am spread by the feces of a sick patient. I live in places where sanitation is extremely poor. So where the toilets just go straight into the rivers. The feces of sick patients usually go to the rivers where many children play and many people drink from. And when they do, then I enter their digestive systems and stick to the esophagus. And finally, I harden, creating a bone-like solid that prevents the esophagus from letting food into the victim's stomach.
Okay.
I also release deadly gases that make the victim very hungry. So, gives them hunger.
What's your infection rate?
What?
What's your infection rate? Your R naught.
I didn't invent that yet. You can't say it.
The question was, describe how you spread around the world, which you did, about the feces in the rivers, and how long would it take
How long would it take?
Yeah,
I
to
can't.
spread around the world.
It's impossible.
To spread around the world.
It's not possible for me to spread around the world.
Why?
Because I only live in places where sanitation is poor.
Okay. So how long would it take to spread around the village?
The village?
If you infect one person, how many people can you infect from that one person? So does a one person, can it be people to people transmission?
Just like contact?
Yeah, like
No.
like you get a stomach ache, you pooped, and
Yeah.
that person, the next person that drinks the water from that poop water river, how many people get sick from your poop?
Well, I mean, it depends how useful the river is. On average, it's going to be like around 5. Depending on how big the village is.
So you never read anything about the R not?
No.
Like the letter R. And
I
then
know
not.
it's on. I heard it's on there.
Yeah. So that yours would be a 5.
Yeah.
So
About.
yeah,
That's
about
on average, because
yeah, because I mean you pooped.
you pooped and then
5 people happen to drink the river.
Yeah, from the
That
river.
because if everybody drank the river,
It would be insanely large.
well, not necessarily. It could be
But,
that
like-
that part of the river didn't have it.
Yeah, but still.
Yes, and then those 5 people poop in the river and they drink it, and then 5 more people get infected from those 5, for 5 each. So
Yeah.
it's 5. What's mathematically what's that? Like what's that?
Power of 5.
I guess so.
Exponential of 5. So
Yeah, not prime.
power. The power of 5. It's the logarithmal is the opposite of exponential. It like exponential. It slowly gets fat. It increases it increases faster.
Okay, that's what I went to.
And logarithmic, it increases slower.
And what did you think of this assignment? How long did it take you to do?
Well, I'm not actually done on this.
Okay, keep going.
If they cannot get food within a couple hours, the patient will starve to death. During those hours, the victim will poop one more time to let all the food left in their body. And then that's how I would get back into the rivers and replicate, and, I only live in the Congo Basin, West Africa, East Africa, and the Indian subcontinent. These places have very poor sanitation. I cannot live in places like Europe because they have proper sewage systems. That's why I can't spread all over the world. I can also infect mosquitoes. I did this because I hate mosquitoes. I plugged their proboscis so that they cannot feed anymore. The mosquito flies around and finally it will make it land on a tree that has the best breeding conditions so I can replicate and infect more and more mosquitoes. That is how I survive and complete my life cycle.
Okay.
How long does this take? A week.
Okay.
Is that good?
That's fine.